We live in a very interesting time. In one light, we seem to be at the apogee of our entire human existence technologically, when in another light, we seem to be regressing more and more as the years go on. Now, generally, when people think of the end of humanity, they tend to gravitate more towards the idea of some cataclysmic doomsday event, such as an asteroid collision, or maybe among certain individuals, something that hinges more on religion. But I'm not going to really get into that. The former isn't really a matter of if, it's a matter of when. An asteroid collision is going to happen someday. Now, whether humanity is around to witness it or we've all been wiped off the face of the earth at some time in future history really isn't of any concern to the laws that govern the universe. Whereas the latter really has no scientific pot to piss in as far as supporting its claims. Now, I just want to make it very clear that everything from here on out isn't a conclusive scientific driven bit of rhetoric made for the sake of convincing those that are watching of some end all be all scenario to the fate of humanity, but basically just an idea that's been floating around in my head for a while. But before we go on, I'd like to go back in time not too far. The woolly mammoth. Now, the Ice Age began almost 2 million years ago, which is more than enough time for any particular species to evolve and adapt to the climate around them. And those that didn't adapt simply died off, which brings me to my next point. During that period, the woolly mammoth flourished by adapting to the freezing cold climate around it by developing its signature coat of hair, alongside the ability to secrete an oil that insulated their coats further. Now, the last ice age ended only a mere 10,000 years ago, but it ended at such a jarringly fast pace that the most common theory among the extinction of these animals suggests that they simply didn't have enough time in the period of evolution to lose their fur coats before the heat eventually killed them off. So basically, the one thing that kept the woolly mammoth alive for millions of years ended up becoming a fatal detriment to their existence. No more woolly mammoths, which in all honesty is probably a good thing considering if they were still alive today, they'd probably be sweating their hairy asses off in a zoo somewhere. Now, the point that I'm trying to make is the woolly mammoth went extinct due to a flaw in its evolution that at one point helped it flourish, but later became an Achilles heel in the process of natural selection. Now, a lot of people tend to think of intelligence as this blessing of a superior race, but really they tend to forget that at its core, it's really nothing more than a defense mechanism that's perpetuated our species throughout the ages. When it's cold, we don't die off. We build houses. We harness the power of thermal radiation from a particular heat source. We don't go around chasing animals anymore to feed ourselves. We have an advanced agriculture system that's sustained us for thousands of years. It's the same thing, except we're consciously altering our own evolution. Now, what's wrong with that, you might ask? Well, here's the problem. We live in a time where everyone is in fact at each other's throat. As time goes on, we have more and more turmoil between religious sects. Terrorism is at an all-time high. We still have turmoil between races. I mean, shit, we have turmoil between men, women, heterosexuals, and homosexuals. Everyone clearly hates everyone for everything. And with the birth of the internet, everyone's been able to lift the veil of denial that maybe, just maybe, someone out there has a different opinion than they do. And to be honest, I just don't see it getting any better. Everyone at this point seems to be so firm on their perspective in life that it almost comes off as a heroin addict trying to chase their high. And the reality of it is, more often than not, the results are devastating. It doesn't end well for anyone. We're showing the true flaws of our species' method of survival. I personally think that intelligence is a failed experiment, if you will, in the history of Earth, and that while it gives us this grand perspective and scope of the world around us, it doesn't seem to hold water in the process of natural selection. Just imagine, at the apex of everyone's hatred for each other, we have men killing women, women killing men, heterosexuals killing homosexuals, radical Islamic terrorists going all out on Western culture. The West retaliates and puts an end to the Middle East. Allies of the Middle East retaliate against the West. A worldwide civil war between races, religions, and sexes comes to its climax. And then everything goes silent. The human race is brushed away, leaving nothing more than our remains as proof of our former existence. Another casualty in a species' failed method of survival. And when it's all over, maybe someday in the future, millions of years from now, on a faraway planet, intelligence will find itself upon another species, and they'll progress, they'll evolve, and maybe someday in their lineage, they'll peer into the cosmos just like us and ask, where's all the signs of intelligent life?